Hello and welcome to Network Forensic Fundamentals. My name is Phil Hagen and I'm really excited to be bringing this series to you. We're going to start out talking a little bit about why I put this series together and give you a little bit of background on myself as well. This series comes from a lot of time that I've spent with students who are learning network forensics and really identifying a lot of the more foundational topics, things that are really important for us to know that maybe if you're brand new to this, you don't have a formal exposure to, or if you've been doing it a long time, maybe it's something that you may have forgotten about and you want a little bit of a refresher. Although a lot of this material was directly intended for students of my SANS course, which is Forensics 572, Advanced Network Forensics and Analysis, it's really something that can be applicable to a lot of folks. And it's not just for network forensics either. It is topics and subjects that we're going to be covering that would really be useful to anybody doing any kind of computer network investigations, perhaps security operations, even troubleshooting. Really something that I hope you're able to get a lot out of. I want to start by giving you a little bit of a background about myself, just so you can kind of understand where I'm coming into with this material as well as with the industry in general. I've been doing information security work for a very long time. In the mid-1990s, when I was at the U.S. Air Force Academy, we started studying this as a very, very long lead future topic. Well, obviously, we're there now. And after I got out of the academy with a computer science degree, I was a communications officer in the Air Force, and I got to really see a lot of what we now see in our cybersecurity industry in terms of state-level adversaries, tradecraft, and different types of attack techniques. We really got to see those firsthand from a few different perspectives. It was a fascinating time because it was when everything was all very new. We started to realize that, hey, this is going to be something very important for us, not just as a government or as a military, but for us as an industry as well. In 2003, I got out of the Air Force and began to work as a contractor. So I was still government adjacent, still supporting a lot of Department of Defense, intelligence community, and law enforcement operations. And I also started to get a little bit of a feel for some of the commercial world as well. I had a chance to support some wonderful programs, very, very important work that was being done. But again, it was still at the absolute front of this industry. We're talking about work from an offensive, defensive, or investigative point of view. After that, I moved into an independent consultant role where I got a chance to work with a lot of different law enforcement agencies, really focusing largely on large-scale fraud architectures, but also starting to see how some of these smaller organizations, smaller companies were being victimized by the type of attackers that we used to think would be state level. And we started to see this happening, this advancement happening very, very rapidly. These days, I split my time between two things. I still work exclusively in the information security industry. I work at Red Canary, and I've been there for about 10 years now. And I get to work with our community team where our mission is telling the story of security operations, primarily using Red Canary's approach with managed detection and response, but also starting to grow that into protecting other sources of information, such as network infrastructures, as well as talking through how to protect identity and some of the other newer topics as well. It's a wonderful team that I get to work with, and hopefully you've had a chance to see a lot of the material that we put together with our blog posts, our webinars, as well as our annual threat detection report. And it's a really amazing opportunity to see all of these different threats that are facing our large number of customers around the world. And as I mentioned before, I've also worked for the SANS Institute for quite some time, and I'm a faculty fellow with the SANS Institute, and I'm also the course lead for that Forensics 572 course that we did talk about. And this is a course where we really go in great detail about things with network forensics, tools, techniques, and procedures that you would be able to use as you go through casework. And it's been a really amazing opportunity across those many years to talk to thousands and thousands of students about what they're facing in their environments, as well as what kind of things we need to incorporate into the course as it advances. As I mentioned before, what you're seeing here in this series of videos is actually an extension of that course, really the kind of baseline or foundational material that I think our students need to come in with. But it is something that I think will be beneficial to a lot of you. I'm really excited to bring this series to you. We've got an initial release of videos that are going to be put out all at the same time, and then gradually we'll be adding more to those as well. And I look forward to your feedback. Certainly want to hear what you think is relevant, what is helpful. And if you've got any ideas for what we might want to focus on in the future, really look forward to hearing those inputs as well. That said, let's go ahead and get started with some of our core concepts, and that'll be the first couple of videos that we have in the series. Then we'll talk about some of our core tools. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm glad to have you along for the ride.